Hey everyone. It's been a long time since I made a video, so I thought I'd put some content out there showing what I've been doing. Um, so last year I made this program, um, kind of inspired by Dwarf Fortress, not necessarily the game play or like the dwarves, but the whole concept of emergent gameplay and having like complex systems that evolve on their own interaction with each other to create kind of narratives and interesting story mechanics. So anyway, I just built this is like a tile world. Um, and the idea with this rain cloud was that the world would have moisture and temperature, and a certain amount of evaporation would be caused by um, that temperature, which would accumulate into clouds. And you can see that this rain, after a certain amount of raindrops land on a specific tile, it will form a puddle. And then I was going to have it so that puddles could pool together into streams, and you would have like effectively water systems that change over time dynamically. You would get like erosion patterns and things like that. So every time one of these raindrops falls, it causes a small amount of erosion damage to the block it hits, and then eventually you would have those blocks like disappearing and forming water courses and things like that. So this was kind of just a fun project, not really for anything other than experience and learning. This is the first game I made that had the ability to zoom in and out. So it's really touchy at the moment because I haven't set it up right. But you can see that the zoom does work. It's just very sensitive. So I've got to tap it like the tiniest amount and you get quite a drastic result. Um, yeah, this is actually a 3D world as well. We just have a top-down view perspective. So I'm pressing page up and page down right now. And we can sort of go down into different layers of the ground. So if you look at the top left, it will say actually our XYZ coordinates on the map. And yeah, I was going to have different levels of blocks and different types of blocks, but I've sort of just abandoned this project. I don't know if you've noticed as well, the wind direction controlled which way this cloud was moving. So the top right, the wind is just randomly changing every couple of, it looks like about every 10, 15 seconds. Um, Anyway, yeah, this was last year, just random project. So we can close that. Close project. This is what I'm working on now. So this is a new game called Warp Tech, and I've been building this new uh, handling system for it, which I've just called the Warp Engine. Um, I'm just trying to find main. Where's game? The kind of premise of the game is it's set in the future, and humanity has just discovered warp technology, and you are the captain of the world's first faster than light capable ship, and you're basically setting out to test this ship out and explore and maybe discover new species or planets or whatever. Um, yeah, so that's really the premise of the game. Um, I'm just going to search for game. Yeah, here we go. This is the right version. And we'll just debug. You can probably hear my cats. They're just fighting right next to it. Girls, cut that out. Stop. They're going a bit crazy. All right. So anyway, this is the system. We've just jumped into a randomly generated system. And we can open this map up. This is a navigation of different stars in the sector we're in. This little blue arrow here you can see points to the system we're in. It's a little, looks like a pulsar or something. So different stars have different fertilities in terms of like how much matter will accumulate in their stellar ring. So we could look at a yellow dwarf, which is this star. They typically have pretty fertile systems. I'll just turn the background off there so we can get a better look at what's in the system here. And if we change the game speed, we'll get a better idea of the orbital paths that these objects have in this system. And that's just broken the game because I was messing around with the game speed last night. I think we need to look at settings actually. Let's just make this like 5,000. What was that? 50,000. All right. Well, we'll just try that again. So we'll accelerate game time here. We should get a better result now. No? Okay. All right. Well, clearly I've broken that yesterday. Anyway, it's not super important. It's just a nice mechanic. Sometimes you want to accelerate the rate of time in your game. Yeah, so all of these systems, I've just noticed as well, this has some, that sprite is wrong. That shouldn't have those weird lines there. All of these systems can have moons as well. So looks like these moons here belong to this Saturn-like planet. And they'll just follow him around the system. We've got a random stray moon over here. I'm not sure if that belongs to this system or could be a very small orbit around this star. So what I've been working on at the moment, anyway, is this engineering panel here. So this is where you'll build your ship and add different functionality to your ship. So you'll start with this empty grid, and you can place blocks, which are basically just tiles. And the default block is just called a structural block, and it only provides integrity to your ship, which is essentially your ship's health. So if you reach 0 integrity, you'll probably break apart. If we deselect everything, you get the sum total of all the blocks in your ship and what they provide. And then structural blocks can be assigned a block type. So you've got armor, weapons, and systems. And then each of these has subtypes. So if we assign this to be a system, then we can pick a specific system that we want this block to become. So it could become like a command, or you could have a helm, thrusters, all that sort of stuff comes under systems. And you can see this is actually clipping out of the window here, so you can't quite see all of the options. That's just because I haven't clamped this menu to fit in the window. So if, for example, we were to go down here, you would just notice that half the options are gone. So yeah, that's just a simple bug. Yeah, and you'll kind of build your ship up. You'll notice that you have to place blocks connected to the other blocks. The first one you place is you can drop anywhere in the grid, but then everything else subsequent has to be connected. Yeah, and there's a few different options here. This will be for repairing. It doesn't do anything right now, and this is also obviously for demolishing blocks. But again, this is just a blank test button that doesn't do anything right now. Yeah, if I was to start adding some armor, for example, into here, you'll see it's building up armor on our ship total. Yeah, so what I'm working on at the moment is adding power into the ship. So you'll be able to change one of these systems to be power. And then you can see here, this produces, it says we've got 10 power production. But it doesn't actually connect to anything right now. So I'll probably add some conduits in, and you'll have to plug your power sources up to different systems to power them. And then you might have noticed that these system icons actually match icons up the top here. So how it will work is as you add more systems onto your ship, you'll unlock more of these panels, which you can then use those systems essentially. And the reason these are grayed out is because they're unpowered. So if this were to have power, that would then power this helm system, and I could click on this button, and then we could start issuing commands to the helm. So you probably won't, I might make it that you can have direct control over your ship, although most of the time that's not what you'll do. You'll just have a crew member who's stationed on the helm, and you'll just open up this helm panel, and you'll just have like a list of systems that are within distance, and you just issue like, oh, weigh in a course for this planet or this star, and then that crew will automatically start, bringing your ship about to that location. Yeah, I think most control over the game and the ship will be indirect. So you're really going to be playing the role of the space captain who is issuing commands to your subordinates, and then they carry out those commands for you rather than directly, running around your ship and doing everything yourself manually. Yeah, what else? So you can pause the game. Obviously, that just freezes everything. And yeah, a bit of a shame that this game speed thing was broken. I might fix that up later today and just do another quick little follow-up to show that in action. But yeah, I wonder if we could slow things down. That might work. Because I was just messing with the game acceleration. That hasn't really seemed to have affected it. So typically, the normal game speed is about 2 days per second. So if you were to drop this to be 0.5, you would have like 4 days per second, or if you went to 2, you would be at about 1 day per second game time. And that's going to be important as well because your crew will have age and they will grow older. So, eventually, if you're running a crew of seniors and you've got all 60, 70 plus crew members, you're going to probably want to start replacing some of them before they croak and you end up, with a skeleton crew. So yeah, anyway, that's pretty much all, guys. Just a bit of a sneak peek for what's in the works at the moment. You might have noticed in the background as well, I've already set up a bit of a temporary parallax kind of effect with stars. So there's 3 different layers of stars that will move at different speeds in the background relative to your position. Just kind of just gives an illusion of depth to the game when there really isn't any. Yeah. All right, well, thanks for watching, and I'll try and make some more videos soon. Hopefully, if I get this power system done, I'll probably do an update and show that in action. Yeah, all right. Thanks, everyone. See ya.